The holographic display flickered in the dim light of Earth's High Council chamber, casting an eerie blue glow across the faces of humanity's leaders. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood rigid, her weathered face masking the fury that burned beneath, as she watched the hegemony's proclamation unfold before her. By decree of the Galactic Hegemony Council, the translucent figure of High Arbiter Exlaner announced, his crystalline form refracting light in hypnotic patterns, Earth is hereby found in violation of Statute 247 Beta. Unauthorized technological advancement beyond prescribed parameters. The penalty for such transgression is immediate technological regression and oversight. Sarah's fingers dug into the polished obsidian podium. 6 years of diplomatic service to the hegemony, and this was their reward for humanity's innovations. The chamber erupted in outraged murmurs, but she raised a hand for silence. High Arbiter, she spoke, her voice steady despite the trembling in her chest. Earth respectfully challenges these findings. Our advancements in quantum computing and dark matter manipulation fall well within the guidelines established by the Proxima Accords. Exlaner's crystalline form shimmered with what Sarah had learned to recognize as contempt. The evidence provided by the Mercantile Syndicate proves otherwise. Their sensor logs clearly show your species has developed prototype weapons capable of destabilizing space-time itself. Admiral James Rodriguez, seated to Sarah's left, leaned forward. "That's impossible," he growled. "Those facilities are researching clean energy alternatives, not weapons. We've provided full documentation." "Documentation can be falsified," interrupted Syndicate Representative Kizov, his gelatinous form pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. "The hegemony's decision is final. Earth has 48 standard cycles to begin decommissioning all quantum research facilities and surrender its deep space fleet for proper oversight." Sarah's diplomatic mask cracked. "This isn't about technological violations at all, is it? This is about control. The Syndicate fears competition in the quantum energy market." The chamber fell silent. Even Exlaner's crystalline form seemed to still for a moment. "Choose your next words carefully, Ambassador," the High Arbiter warned. Accusations against the honored Mercantile Syndicate could be considered additional violations. But Sarah had spent years studying the intricate dance of galactic politics. She saw the slight fluctuation in Kizov's bioluminescence, the telling pattern that indicated anxiety in his species. She had struck a nerve. "I choose truth, High Arbiter. And the truth is that humanity will not surrender its sovereignty to satisfy the Syndicate's monopolistic ambitions." As if on cue, her quantum pad vibrated. A message from Earth's Cybersecurity Division. "DRAK ROUG ENCURYPTDs to STWND communications intercepted. Evidence of FALSIFIE data. CKN DBY4. Fuel REPRT. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "In fact, I believe we'll have some very interesting data to present to the full Hegemony Council very soon." Exlaner's form crackled with energy. "This session is concluded. Earth has 48 cycles to comply or face immediate sanctions. All diplomatic channels will now be suspended." As the holographic figures vanished, Admiral Rodriguez turned to Sarah. "Tell me you have something concrete." "Our cyber teams have been working round the clock," she replied, pulling up the incoming data on her pad. "The Syndicate didn't cover their tracks as well as they thought. But we need time." "Time we don't have," Rodriguez said grimly. "If we surrender our fleet, we'll never get it back. And if we refuse, they'll try to take it by force." Sarah finished. She straightened her shoulders, looking out over the assembled council. "Then we give them something they don't expect. Humanity didn't survive ice ages, plagues, and our own near destruction to bow down now." The chamber's main display lit up with tactical readouts as military and civilian leaders began coordinating. Sarah watched as humanity's greatest minds came together, already adapting, planning, preparing to fight back against impossible odds. "Send word to all our colonies and research stations," she commanded. Initiate Protocol Phoenix. If the hegemony wants to see humanity's true capabilities. She paused, thinking of all the innovations they had kept hidden, all the contingencies they had prepared for just such a betrayal. Then we'll give them exactly what they fear. In the depths of space, Earth's quantum defense grid hummed to life, its true nature finally ready to be revealed. The hegemony thought they were caging a primitive species. They were about to learn they had cornered something far more dangerous, humanity with nothing left to lose. The stealth vessel Nightshade drifted through the void, its quantum-dampening fields rendering it virtually invisible to the hegemony's sensor networks. Commander Maya Patel watched the holographic display as her ship approached the massive structure floating in the shadow of a gas giant. The Syndicate's supposedly secret research facility. "Status report," she whispered, though the ship's sonic dampeners made such precautions unnecessary. Lieutenant Zhao's fingers danced across his console. "Facility's defensive grid remains inactive. They have no idea we're here. Quantum signatures are. Interesting. They're definitely working with something big in there, Commander." Maya nodded. After the hegemony's ultimatum 2 weeks ago, Earth's deep space intelligence had worked overtime, piecing together fragments of data that pointed to this facility. If their intel was correct, this was where the Syndicate had manufactured their false evidence against Earth. "Team Alpha, prepare for insertion," she ordered. Through the ship's neural link, she felt her squad's acknowledgement. 6 of humanity's best operators, equipped with the latest stealth tech that Earth had kept hidden from the hegemony's watchful eyes. The facility grew larger in their view, its crystalline structures reflecting the distant starlight. Maya had studied its layout extensively. 3 main research hubs connected by transport tubes, with the central data core buried deep within. Their target. "Ma'am," Zhao's voice carried a note of concern, detecting unusual energy fluctuations from Hub 2. Patterns match theoretical weapons testing. Maya's jaw tightened. So much for their claims about Earth being the warmongers. Record everything. The more evidence we gather, the better. The Nightshade positioned itself beneath one of the facility's maintenance ports. Through her neural link, Maya watched as Team Alpha activated their phase suits, another innovation the hegemony would have forbidden had they known about it. The suits allowed them to temporarily exist slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, passing through solid matter for brief periods. "Remember," Maya broadcast to her team, "we're here for data extraction and placement of quantum tags. No engagement unless absolutely necessary. The hegemony doesn't know humanity's true capabilities yet, and we want to keep it that way." The team acknowledged, and Maya watched their biosignatures move through the hull and into the facility. Years of preparing for potential betrayal by their allies had led to this moment. Humanity had played the role of the obedient younger species, while secretly developing technologies that would make even the hegemony's most advanced systems seem primitive. Through the neural link, Maya monitored her team's progress. They moved like ghosts through the facility's corridors, their phase suits allowing them to bypass security checkpoints undetected. The alien researchers, mostly composed of the Syndicate's gelatinous forms, worked on, completely unaware of the human operators passing through their midst. "Commander," one of her operators transmitted, "you need to see this." Maya accessed the feed from their suit cameras. In a massive chamber, dozens of containment fields housed what appeared to be biological weapons. But these weren't standard bioweapons. The quantum signatures suggested something far more sinister. "They're developing quantum-targeted pathogens," her team's science specialist reported, "designed to attack specific genetic markers. They could wipe out an entire species while leaving others unaffected." Maya felt her blood run cold. "Document everything. This isn't just about false accusations anymore. They're preparing for genocide." The team continued deeper into the facility, planting quantum tags as they went. These microscopic devices would allow Earth to monitor the facility's activities indefinitely, gathering evidence of the Syndicate's true nature. When they reached the central data core, Maya's operators encountered their first real challenge. The core was protected by quantum-locked security protocols that even their phased suits couldn't bypass. "Time for Plan Omega," Maya transmitted. She activated a specialized program through her neural link, an AI system far more advanced than anything the hegemony believed humanity capable of creating. Within seconds, it began unraveling the facility's security. Warning alerts suddenly blared throughout the facility. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL, Zhao reported. Hegemony patrol fleet. They're ahead of schedule. Maya remained calm. Team Alpha, accelerate timeline. Execute data extraction and prepare for emergency phase shift. Through her neural link, she watched as her operators completed their mission, downloading terabytes of incriminating data while the facility's staff scrambled to respond to the security breach. The hegemony ships were moving into position, but they were searching for conventional vessels, not knowing humanity's true technological capabilities. Phase shift complete, data secured, her team leader reported. Ready for extraction. Nightshade, initiating quantum fold, Maya announced. This was the riskiest part, a form of FTL travel that the hegemony had deemed theoretically impossible. The ship's systems hummed as space itself seemed to bend around them. In an instant, they were gone, leaving behind a very different message than the one the Syndicate had intended to send. Now Earth had proof of their conspirators' true intentions, and more importantly, had demonstrated, if only to themselves, that humanity was far from helpless. As the Nightshade emerged from its quantum fold near Earth's secret staging area, Maya began preparing her report. The hegemony thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would bow to their demands. Instead, they had started a chain of events that would reshape the galaxy forever. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Hegemony buzzed with tension as representatives from 100 spacefaring civilizations gathered for an emergency session. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the center of the vast chamber, her heart steady despite the gravity of what she was about to do. Above her, the crystalline forms of the High Council gleamed with barely contained fury. "You dare call this session without hegemony approval?" High Arbiter X Leonard's voice boomed through the chamber. "Earth stands accused of violations, yet you. Earth stands ready to present evidence of crimes that threaten every species in this assembly." Sarah interrupted, her voice clear and unwavering. With a gesture, she activated the quantum-encrypted data package Commander Patel's team had recovered. The hall's holographic systems came alive, projecting images that caused gasps and murmurs to ripple through the gathered representatives. Documentation of the Syndicate's secret bioweapon facilities floated in the air, along with encrypted communications revealing their true intentions. The Mercantile Syndicate, with the implicit support of certain Hegemony Council members, has been developing quantum-targeted biological weapons, Sarah announced. Weapons designed to eliminate specific species while leaving others unharmed. And Earth was to be their first test subject. Zoth's gelatinous form pulsed with rapid color changes, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. "These are fabrications. The humans seek to deflect attention from their own violations." "The data carries quantum authentication markers," interrupted Ambassador Vex Till of the Arcturus Collective, his insectoid mandibles clicking rapidly as he analyzed the information. "These records cannot be falsified." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Arcturus Collective had long been suspicious of the Syndicate's growing influence. Now they had the proof they needed. This evidence was gathered at great risk by Earth's operatives. Sarah continued, "But we didn't stop at just one facility." With another gesture, she revealed data from dozens of similar installations scattered throughout hegemony space. "The Syndicate's conspiracy extends far beyond Earth. Many of you have faced similar accusations, similar attempts to restrict your species' development." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices as representatives recognized facilities in their own systems, patterns of interference that had plagued their own peoples. Sarah watched as alliances that had stood for centuries began to crack under the weight of revealed truth. High Arbiter Xlaner raised his crystalline arms for silence. Even if these allegations are true, Earth has still violated hegemony law by conducting unauthorized surveillance operations. The laws you created to keep younger species weak. A new voice rang out. Ambassador Lyra of the Centauri Union rose from her seat, her bioluminescent tendrils glowing with conviction. My people have watched as the Syndicate systematically stripped resources from our outer colonies, always hiding behind hegemony regulations. No more. One by one, representatives stood. The Arcturus Collective, the Centauri Union, the Rigel Confederation. Species that had long chafed under hegemony restrictions now found their voice. But it was the next revelation that truly changed everything. Sarah nodded to her technical team, and new data filled the chamber. During our investigation, we discovered something else. The Syndicate hasn't just been developing weapons, they've been secretly testing them. 3 extinction-level events in the past decade, officially attributed to natural disasters, were actually field tests. The evidence was irrefutable. Sensor logs, genetic analysis, quantum decay patterns, all pointing to deliberate genocide. The chamber fell into shocked silence. Earth calls for an immediate emergency vote, Sarah declared, not just on the sanctions against us, but on the very structure of the hegemony itself. For too long, advancement has been stifled in the name of stability. Species have been pitted against each other while a privileged few accumulate power. Today, that changes. High Arbiter Xlaner's crystalline form crackled with energy. You can it. We can, and we will. Ambassador Vextil interrupted. The Arcturus Collective seconds Earth's motion. The evidence demands a full investigation and restructuring of hegemony leadership. The Centauri Union stands with Earth, Ambassador Lyra added. More voices joined in, a cascade of support that couldn't be ignored. As the vote began, Sarah received a private message through her quantum link. Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared in her peripheral vision. The Syndicate's forces are mobilizing, he reported. They won't accept this peacefully. They won't have a choice, Sarah replied quietly. Humanity's fleet is no longer alone. And I think they're about to discover that other species have been keeping secrets of their own. In orbit above the hegemony capital, Earth's hidden fleet dropped its quantum camouflage, revealing ships of a design and capability that defied all known restrictions. They were joined by vessels from the Arcturus Collective, the Centauri Union, and a dozen other species, all having developed in secret, all prepared for this moment. The tide had turned. The age of hegemony control was ending, and humanity had helped light the spark that would reshape the galaxy. Admiral Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiant, watching as the combined fleet of Earth and its new allies emerged from quantum space near the Syndicate's primary manufacturing hub. The massive orbital structures that had once churned out the tools of oppression now lay before them, their defenses on high alert. All ships reporting ready, Commander Maya Patel announced from her tactical station. The Arcturus battle groups have taken position on our flanks. Centauri stealth squadrons are in place behind the enemy lines. Rodriguez nodded, his expression grim. The Syndicate had responded to their exposure exactly as expected, not with surrender, but with desperate aggression. Their hidden fleets had already struck at 3 allied worlds, trying to crush the rebellion before it could fully form. Enemy forces detected, Maya reported. Multiple capital ships emerging from fold space. Energy signatures matched their new quantum weaponry. The massive view screen showed the Syndicate fleet materializing. Sleek, biological ships that pulsed with otherworldly energy. At their center, a vessel larger than anything they'd ever encountered slowly took form. That's their flagship. Ambassador Vextil's voice came through the command channel. The Arcturus leader had insisted on joining the battle personally. Our intelligence suggests it houses their primary quantum consciousness, the collective mind that coordinates their entire military. Rodriguez smiled slightly. Then that's our target. He opened a channel to the combined fleet. All ships, initialize Protocol Prometheus. Remember your training. Today we show them what happens when you try to cage humanity and its allies. Throughout the fleet, crews activated technologies that had been developed in secret over years of preparation. The Defiant's quantum core hummed as it synchronized with the other ships, creating a defensive network that the Syndicate's weapons couldn't penetrate. The enemy struck first, their biological ships launching waves of quantum-guided projectiles. But instead of the easy victories they'd expected, they found their attacks scattered and nullified by defensive systems they'd never known existed. "Return fire," Rodriguez ordered. "Show them why the hegemony was right to fear our advancement." Earth's ships launched their own assault, using targeting algorithms that adapted faster than the Syndicate's biological ships could evolve. The Arcturus forces added their own unique weapons to the mix, gravity weapons that twisted space itself into knots, trapping enemy vessels in temporal distortions. But the Syndicate hadn't survived this long by being predictable. Their flagship pulsed with brilliant energy, and suddenly half their fleet seemed to phase out of normal space, reappearing behind the Allied lines. "Clever," Rodriguez murmured, "but not clever enough. Commander Patel, execute Maneuver Hydra." Maya's fingers flew across her console, and the Allied fleet's formation shifted in ways that should have been impossible for ships their size. The Centauri stealth squadrons revealed themselves at precisely the right moment, their phantom drives creating duplicate sensor images that confused the Syndicate's targeting systems. "Their quantum consciousness is trying to adapt," Vextil reported. "But it's never encountered this level of technological integration before. It's overwhelmed." Rodriguez watched as the battle unfolded according to their simulations. The Syndicate's biological ships were formidable, but they relied too heavily on their collective consciousness to coordinate their actions. And that consciousness, for all its processing power, couldn't match the intuitive creativity of individual commanders working in harmony. "Multiple ships have breached their defensive line," Maya announced. "The Centauri are reporting successful deployment of quantum disruptors." On the massive view screen, Rodriguez watched as sections of the Syndicate fleet began to lose cohesion. Their biological ships, cut off from the quantum consciousness, fell into disarray. The massive flagship pulsed with increasingly erratic energy patterns as its control over the fleet weakened. "Now," Rodriguez ordered, "all ships, execute final approach. Concentrated fire on their flagship's quantum core." The combined fleet moved as one, their weapons synchronizing in ways the hegemony had deemed impossible. Energy beams, gravity distortions, and quantum torpedoes converged on a single point. The Syndicate flagship's defenses, sophisticated as they were, couldn't handle the combined assault. A brilliant flash lit up space as the flagship's quantum core collapsed. The effect rippled through the remaining Syndicate ships, their biological components losing the cohesion that had made them so formidable. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat," Maya reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. "Their remaining ships are attempting emergency fold space jumps. Most are failing." Rodriguez opened a channel to all ships. "Secure the manufacturing facilities. I want every piece of evidence documented. The Hegemony Council needs to see exactly what their precious Syndicate was building out here." As cleanup operations began, Rodriguez received a priority communication from Earth. Ambassador Sarah Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression both pleased and concerned. "The Hegemony Council is in chaos," she reported. "With the Syndicate's defeat and the evidence we've presented, multiple factions are now calling for complete reorganization. But some of the more conservative elements are resistant. They're calling for military intervention to restore order." Rodriguez smiled grimly. "Let them try. I think we've demonstrated today that the old power structures no longer hold. The galaxy is changing, Ambassador, and humanity helped make it happen." The stars seemed brighter somehow as Rodriguez looked out over the battlefield. The chains of the old order were breaking, and something new was taking shape, something that valued innovation over control, cooperation over dominance. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year after the Battle of Syndicate Hub, The newly constructed Chamber of Cooperation hung suspended in Earth orbit, its crystalline structure catching the light of humanity's home star. Inside, representatives from across the galaxy gathered not as subjects of the hegemony, but as equals in a new era of galactic civilization. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the central podium, surveying the assembled delegates. The chamber design itself reflected the changes they'd fought for. Gone were the hierarchical tiers of the old Hegemony Council, replaced by a circular arrangement that put all species on equal footing. The last year has brought more change than many thought possible, Sarah began, her voice carrying to all corners of the chamber. The fall of the syndicate revealed not just their crimes, but the fundamental flaws in a system that valued control over progress. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing the transformation that had swept through known space. Former hegemony worlds now buzzed with unprecedented technological and cultural exchange. The quantum communications network, once restricted by syndicate monopolies, had been rebuilt and expanded, allowing free flow of information between species. But our greatest achievement, Sarah continued, isn't the technology we've unveiled or the oppressors we've overthrown. It's the trust we've built. The proof that different species can advance together without fear or subjugation. Ambassador Vextil clicked his mandibles in agreement. The Arcturus Collective had emerged as one of Earth's strongest allies, their combined scientific expertise accelerating development across multiple fields. The quantum fold drive networks alone have connected regions of space that were once months apart. Trade and cultural exchange have flourished, and more importantly, added Ambassador Lyra of the Centauri Union, her bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with warm colors. We've maintained peace through cooperation, not coercion. The Peacekeeping Fleet's joint command structure ensures no single species can dominate. Admiral Rodriguez, now fleet commander of the combined forces, stood to deliver his report. The last remnants of the syndicate's forces have been contained. Their bioweapon facilities have been converted to medical research centers, turning tools of death into instruments of healing. But more significantly, we've documented rising signs of positive technological exchange between former rival species. The chamber's displays showed examples of this cooperation. Arcturus gravity manipulation technology combined with human quantum computing, Centauri phantom drive principles enhanced by Earth's AI systems, and dozens of other innovations that would have been forbidden under hegemony rule. We face new challenges, Sarah acknowledged. With freedom comes responsibility. Some species are advancing faster than others, leading to concerns about maintaining balance. But unlike the hegemony, we don't respond to these challenges with restrictions and threats. We face them together, with transparency and mutual support. She gestured to a section of the chamber where several former Hegemony Council members sat. Those who had renounced the old ways and embraced change had been welcomed into the new order. Even Ex-Lenar was among them, his crystalline form somehow humbler than before. The galaxy learns from its mistakes, Sarah continued. The hegemony's fall taught us that suppressing advancement doesn't prevent conflict, it breeds it. True stability comes from understanding, from allowing each species to reach its full potential while respecting the rights of others. Commander Maya Patel, monitoring the proceedings from the Defiant in high orbit, smiled as she watched the agricultural reports scroll past. The syndicate's former manufacturing hubs had been transformed into research centers and trading posts. Species that had once competed for resources now shared terraform technology, turning dead worlds into gardens. But our work isn't finished, Sarah declared. Even now, we detect signals from beyond known space. New species emerging, taking their first steps into the galactic community. We have a choice in how we meet them. Do we greet them with restrictions and suspicion, as we were once greeted? Or do we offer them partnership in this grand experiment we've built? The chamber erupted in supportive calls from dozens of species. Earth's stand against the hegemony had inspired more than just rebellion. It had shown the galaxy a better way forward. As the session concluded, Sarah received a private message from one of Earth's deep space research stations. They detected unusual quantum signatures from a previously unexplored region. Signs of technology that didn't match any known species. She smiled, already anticipating the excitement of first contact with a new civilization. But this time, Earth wouldn't come as a supplicant to higher powers. They would arrive as part of something greater. A cooperative of species united not by force or fear, but by the shared dream of what they could achieve together. The stars beckoned, brighter than ever in this new dawn. Humanity had not only secured its place among them, but had helped forge a new path for all species. The galaxy's future was no longer bound by chains of control, but limitless with possibility.